Hi everyone and welcome to Wellness Wednesday. So today we're going to talk about opening your mindset, which means then you're open to opportunity. So I had a really fab training at the weekend. So I was at Winter Spectacular, which was a corporate event that was put on for us in Birmingham, and it was brilliant because we learned so much about not just the business and the corporate side, but also about the mindset change, how to behave, like how to react to things, how to motivate ourselves and things like that. So there were some really key tips that I took, especially from Nick Jarvis's section, because he focused very much on the mindset side, which is stuff that I really like to focus on. So one of the things that he kept mentioning, and he interviewed a couple of people on the stage about how when you open your mind to opportunities, you're then able to see them more effectively. And when you're not, when you've got quite a closed mind, you then don't see things, or the frustrations almost keep manifesting because you're not open to listening to different ideas or things that can happen. So one of the things that he really he kind of got us to all put our pens and pads down and was like, listen to what we're saying in regards to these interviews. So when he interviewed these different people, he was able to see that they almost got themselves stuck in a rut, or they kind of accelerated really quickly with momentum and then they stopped and weren't able to hit certain areas in their business, or they started to fluctuate or plateau because what had happened is they started to focus so heavily on things that were kind of so important to them to a certain degree. So their focus or their target was a certain thing, that they then kind of started to close their mind off and start to really kind of tunnel vision and focus on things that were kind of target driven, or something that they had to deal with, or things that they had to get on with, that then they started to close their mind off to things that were going on around them, which were probably the opportunities that would have enabled them to push forward. So when he was talking about things like that, he was talking about if your mind is open, you will see things that you didn't really realize were there, or opportunities that you weren't actually gonna maybe take if you weren't looking into that. So one of the things that he mentioned is things like stress, frustration. If you're focusing on a project, I think we've all done it before, where, especially myself, if I was ever looking at like a Excel spreadsheet, for example, you'd look at it and you'd try and solve the problem, and you'd look at it for so long that you'd almost get so frustrated that you just could not see it and or see what you'd put in, or the formula that was wrong. You then just you would go, like, take a break for 5 minutes, or go and have a coffee, or go for a walk, and you'd come back and suddenly you could see it there right in front of your face. And it's that same kind of mindset and that same kind of element, whereas when you almost allow the cloud to lift a little bit, you're then able to focus so much more on the opportunities and the things around you that are solving the problems themselves. So when you're stressed, frustrated, you've got high pressure going on, you stop enjoying what you're doing, everything becomes a bit aggy, and then you start to become very kind of closed-minded, things become more frustrating, more problems seem to occur, but you almost start to blame yourself and kind of create this like a self-sabotage, but almost you stop momentum, you stop motivation, you stop finding it fun and happy, and you kind of lose your way a little bit, because suddenly you've gone from working really well and things working really great to then actually not having that success, or it's all starting to stagnate a little bit. So it's really it was really exciting and kind of light bulb moment type training, because you almost started to think, I get it, I get that I need to spend more time thinking about my mindset change, about when you're feeling frustrated, actually the best thing to do is to take a break and to get away from the cloud that's fogging over your brain, allow it to go, and then come back and look at it. So one of the reasons I wanted to talk about open mindset is because I think my journey and my story in general probably wouldn't have ended up the way I was until I started to have a bit of an open mindset. And that started to come, I wasn't even looking for anything in regards to a new opportunity or a change of job role or anything like that. I was literally back in, obviously using the products back in the day, like 3.5 years ago now that I started, because my little girl's going to be 4 next month. 3.5 years ago I started, and I was using the products, and I was literally like, I'm just using them just because I need to lose weight and blah, 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 blah. But then over time, I'm like, probably like most people, I like to look into things. I like to see what's going into my body. I want to make sure I know what's going on. So I was more open-minded to giving it a go, because I was like, I can then find out the information. I can see what's going on. So again, that was kind of like the first starting of opening my mind to things, instead of being so kind of restrictive or very like focused on just my job and what I was doing and my little one. I started to go, right, I need to look at more things. I need to make a change. So when you start to almost implement change, you start to become a bit more open-minded, because you're starting to make that change. So I made the change, learned a lot about the products and the structure and how it all works and stuff like that. So I became more open-minded to learning more, to finding out more information. And then that became the opportunity of, I looked at the business side. Now, when I looked at it, I was very much I just looked at it to think, why would I not be getting 50% discount off my product? So I'll just get to the supervisor stage, get to the 50% discount, and that would be it. Because who doesn't want to pay half the price of what a full price amount is? Then over time, I went to an opportunity meeting in Essex where I saw Danny and Fern and a few other people talking about the opportunity and the income and what they do as a job role and how it all works, and the momentum that it can create and the impact of lives that it happens to. And I thought, do you know what? This could potentially be an opportunity for me in the future. So I was always looking at it as, I eventually want to have 2 children. So I've got one already. So we wanted to have another. And I wanted to get to a stage where I could potentially build an income on the Herbalife side, and then not have to return back to the corporate world once my second child was born, because I know what it's like juggling one. So when it's juggling 2, they would then be going to school and all of that type of stuff. I wanted to start to maybe look at something that was going to be able to generate an income, because I will work as hard as I need to, but having an income that's going to have a flexibility, instead of trying to find a part-time job that's going to fit in the hours of the school runs, that was going to kind of juggle the school plus the kids and the pressure of working in the corporate world as well. So I just started to I thought, you know what, I'll just go along and have a look. I heard all this stuff, then started to see a strategy that could work for me. It could be something that then works along those lines of, could I build an income? Could it be something that I could do on the sideline? Obviously, like anything, I had the same perceptions and I had the same skepticism as quite a lot of people that still do now. And everyone knows someone that's kind of either done it or tried it or not worked, or it has worked, or the cheese on stick kind of approach that people have, or the really forceful approach. But I just thought, if I can just find something that works for me in the way that I'm looking at it, and I've had the results, all I have to do is share my story, and hopefully people are impacted by that, and all of these kind of more holistic approaches of mindset change and things that can help people grow in their confidence, then over time, then it could be something that's definitely a strategy for me. So having an open mindset enabled me to go to that meeting, just see it for what it is and see if it was something that was of interest to me. Then over time, I started to build more confidence in the products. I was on more training. I started to learn more about the kind of environment that it was in. But more importantly, I was around a community of people that wanted me to win, that was giving me confidence, I was around people that were successful as well. And it just it rubs off, as you hear from a lot of kind of self-development training. If you do it, if you hang around the right people, then eventually you start to kind of progress forward. So kind of almost hang around with the people that are above you, so then you become that position eventually. So I started to do that, and then over time the corporate job started to become a little bit harder. I was working part-time, it was really hard to juggle, and we just got to a stage where in the job that I was in, that I just thought, do you know what, I've just got to give this a go, because it felt right in my gut. It felt like it was something that I wanted to do, and I don't know what pulled me to it. I don't really understand. Maybe because I had such a positive outlook on it, I had really good perception of it, I had the results, I was helping people, it felt great to impact others, that I was a little bit like, I feel like this is where I need to be. So keeping that mindset open allowed me to do that, and that's kind of how I then became doing Inspire and Achieve on a full-time basis. So I'm now able to really focus on impacting more lives and helping more people, physically, mentally and financially. Yes, it's using Herbalife products that have been around for 40 years, but that's the vehicle that helps people to progress forward. So it's not a miracle cure. It's not something that, like, once you start and you stop, it all changes. What actually happens is when you start, It's just a vehicle that starts you to create structure. Once you create structure, you're then fueling your body right, you're eating the right things, and then you start to build momentum of a lifestyle change. Hence the reason that I'm still doing it 3.5 years on. And I don't think there's anything that would ever stop me from utilising the products, because I've learned enough now for me to be confident in the products and in the brand itself. So I've kind of moved this into a full-time role now, where I've got options and availability to look after my little one, to grow my business, and to kind of work on my own terms. And I've always had I've always been taught to work as hard as you can, be as loyal as possible, and just stay committed and consistent. And that's what I'm kind of looking to do within the Inspire and Achieve. But that's what I want to kind of share with other people, because then people are able to open their minds a bit more, look at opportunities around them, not just for Herbalife. When I do the mindset training, it's not about Herbalife itself, and obviously I would love to help as many people as I possibly can, and I'd love them to be part of my team as well. But it's about being able to enjoy the kind of openness that you can create within your minds, because you're able to then see more things. So it's like that classic, like you might be looking at a new car, and it might be, I don't know, an Audi that's red, for example, and then all of a sudden you start to see cars on the road that are red Audis. It's because your subconscious now is alert to it and it can see it. So having that open mindset, having that openness to opportunities, you then start to see things that you didn't see before. Whereas if you're very tunnel visioned, you're very focused, it's not a bad thing to have that, because then you get a job done. But sometimes you start to get frustrated with that, because you're not opening your mind to other ways or other ideas or changes that you can implement to be part of that opportunity change, or that change of the completion of a project that you're doing. So trying to have that mindset and that kind of change is really hard. And I think sometimes you almost kind of go, yeah, it's all right for you to say because you feel like this, or you feel that, or you haven't got any worries, or you haven't got any problems, or whatever it is that people think. But really, only we can control that open mindset, and being able to open our kind of, almost like our kind of, when we tell ourselves these things like we're not good enough, we're not able to do it, why are we part of it? All of that type of stuff, we almost start to self-sabotage ourselves, and then we don't look for options. So like when I've spoken to people, even just recently, you start to see the difference between people that have got an open mindset or a closed one. Because if you've got an open mindset, you're almost like you see the opportunity. So I've been looking at not little schools, but schools for my little one to go to. And you go in and you can see the difference in mindset of the teachers and the kids around them, and all of that type of stuff. So you start to see a difference of how people see something working or how they don't, and you can almost gauge if the kids are going to progress well based on that type of mindset and that kind of language that the people use. But yeah, there's so many scenarios where you can see things with more of an open mind, instead of kind of going, I could do that, but what if that happens? And then you close off the idea instead of running with the idea and thinking, right, I'm going to try this and just going to see how I get on with it. And then when you're open to it, you start to see, you could do this, you could do that. You start to brainstorm, and creative stuff starts to come in your mind. Whereas when you start to almost go, oh, I want to do this, but I'm not good at that. I'm not very confident. I can't talk to the camera. I can't do this. I can't do that. You're closing your options, and you're closing your mindset to then say to yourself, I'm not able to do that, so I'm just not going to do it. And then you stop, you quit, and then you don't progress forward. So just being mindful of having an open mindset against a closed mindset will just have a massive impact, whether it's your business, whether it's your fitness levels, whether it's what you eat, whether it's whatever it is in kind of in your life that you're looking to improve, increase, like succeed better on. Be mindful of kind of having a bit more of an open mindset, because once you've got that, you're then actually able to see more opportunities around, instead of closing all the doors, looking at it from a frustration point of view. I have that quite a lot, especially recently when clients are starting to change, like they're not interested at the moment, or their mindset's in a different place, or they're not focusing on themselves. You start to kind of go, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? How's all this, like, what if it doesn't work? And all of this type of stuff. When you start to, I've noticed now, because I'm more mindful and because of the training at the weekend, I'm starting to close off and start to tell myself that I'm not good at this, but I've had success with clients before, so I am good at it. I just need to work at looking at the opportunities instead of closing my mindset of saying I'm no good. So we all have that where we kind of start to delve into this rabbit hole and start to get stuck. But being conscious of it and being aware of it makes such a difference. And then you're able to tweak things and change things to have an impact on your mind, which in turn has an impact on your confidence, in your success, in the way that you're able to kind of shine up and focus on the enjoyment of it, not the actual kind of things that are going wrong all the time, because it's so easy to focus on the negative than it is to focus on the positive stuff that's happening. So yeah, having a real good open mindset, being open to opportunity, looking at all opportunities. I think something that's really important is you'll hear us, especially us within the kind of Herbalife and One Vision opportunity, we talk about it a lot. Oh, come and look at the opportunity, look at the business. You could earn an additional income, or come and join our focuses and stuff. And sometimes you might think, oh, like, why do they keep going on about the opportunity, or why do they keep talking about different focuses? It's because sometimes you've got a closed mindset and you're not even interested. It's not even on the radar. Sometimes you have an open mindset and you're like, do you know what? I think I'm going to check it out. So the more we talk about it, we are kind of talking to your subconscious, because you're seeing it, but you're just not ready yet. So it's not on the radar. But sometimes you see it and go, do you know what? That might be something that might be of interest to me now. I've got something changed in my life. Things need to change. I need to feel different, whatever it is. And then there's the opportunity there ready for you to grasp and ready for you to take. So, yeah, hopefully that's been of interest. I'm just looking at my notes now because there were some bits that I wrote down that I just wanted to make sure that I covered. I did a lot of finding the path. I've spoken about how it grows your business. So having an open mind will enable your business to grow because you've got a path of openness instead of closed off. It's not going to work. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. Self-sabotage and our mental health towards ourselves can have such an impact on how we progress and succeed and our outputs of that. Tunnel vision and pure focus can close the mind. And I've just put here, this was a kind of, it's good because it's a little bit of a closing statement, so it'll be good for us to kind of end on that. I've just put here, being open just means you're more receptive to things around you and you can see things more. It's a bit like awakening your subconscious because it's alert, not restricted. So sometimes we might manifest things, or we might think about stuff and then suddenly you see it, or like, I'm sure we've all had it, we go, oh, I haven't heard from so-and-so for a while. Then suddenly they ping up in your WhatsApp or whatever, and your subconscious starts to wake up to things, and then suddenly things are happening, and you kind of just put it down to a coincidence, but most of the time it's actually because your subconscious has looked at that as well. So hopefully that's added value. Obviously I'll post this into my grid so you're able to revisit it if you've joined a little bit later on. And yeah, hopefully these kind of elements of mindset changes are adding value. It's giving you a little bit of hints and tips to try new things. We have got an opportunity meeting on Thursday in Essex if you did want to come along and have a look at it. Again, like with anything, opportunities are just things that you can look at and you can take it on or not. So if an opportunity comes along, you might want to look at it. If it's not right for you, it's not right for you. If it is, then it could be an opportunity that you wish you'd taken ages ago and then you can progress with. But it's just got to be right for you. So if you want to be part of that, I'm going to be posting about that later as well. And I've also got online ones if you're unable to come to things in person. And yeah, hopefully all of this is adding value. It's giving you some food for thought. And yeah, hopefully you can have a look at your mindset, being open to opportunities. And yeah, hopefully that has a little bit of a twist change on things within your life at the moment. So have a lovely evening and I'll see you next Wednesday.